Have you ever been in a conversation and suddenly you hear English, but it just feels like noise? Not because it's too advanced, but because it's too fast. Someone starts speaking and you catch maybe 40%, and then your brain just goes, wait, what? Like, wait, what did they say? Should I ask again? Is that embarrassing? And yeah, in that moment, most people do one of two things. They either smile, pretend they understood, and just go with it. Or they completely freeze and say nothing. And listen, this is important. Not understanding, that's normal. It happens to everyone. But staying silent, that's the thing that keeps you stuck. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what to say when you didn't catch what someone said. Not textbook English, not those perfect classroom sentences, but real phrases that people actually use in real conversations. Simple, natural, and easy to remember, even when your brain is under pressure. So next time this happens, instead of panicking, you'll actually know what to say. So, let's make this simple. Imagine someone says something to you in English, and you miss it. Not everything, just enough to feel lost. Your goal is not to panic. Your goal is to stay in the conversation. That's it. And the easiest way to do that is to use short, natural phrases. Not perfect sentences, not complicated grammar, just real reactions. Let's start with the most important one. I didn't catch that. Say it slowly. I didn't catch that. This is one of the most natural phrases in English. Not rude, not formal, just honest. Now listen to how it sounds at a real moment. Someone says something fast. You pause slightly, then say, sorry, I didn't catch that. That's it. Simple. And here's the key. You don't need to explain more. You don't need to apologize too much. Just say it and stay present. Now, sometimes you understand a little, but not everything. In that case, you can say, sorry, what did you say about that? Or, even more naturally, wait, what was that last part? Notice something important. You are not saying, I don't understand English. You are saying, I missed this moment. That changes everything, because it shows confidence. Now let's go a bit deeper. Imagine you want the person to repeat, but slower. Not just repeat, slower. You can say, could you say that a bit slower? Or more relaxed. Can you say that a little slower? Very natural, very common. Now let's put it in a real situation. You're talking to someone. They speak fast. You feel lost. Instead of freezing, you say, sorry, can you say that a little slower? They repeat, slower. You understand more. Conversation continues. That's the goal. Not perfection, continuation. Now, another situation. You understand the idea, but one word is missing, just one, and that one word blocks everything. In that case, don't stop the whole conversation. Just ask directly, what does that word mean? Or, what do you mean by that? Short, clear, effective. And here's something most learners don't realize. Native speakers do this too, all the time. They ask, they clarify, they repeat. So when you do it, you're not bad at English. You're communicating, and that's the real goal. Now, let me show you something very important. Tone. Because the same sentence can feel different depending on how you say it. If you say, what? It sounds a little aggressive. But if you say, sorry, what was that? Soft tone, slight smile. Now it feels friendly. So it's not just the words, it's how you say them. Now, let's go to a very real moment. You're in a conversation, you miss something, but you don't want to interrupt immediately. You want to stay smooth. In that case, you can say, sorry, just to make sure, you said. This is powerful, because you are not just asking, you are confirming. And this makes you sound more confident. Let's try a small dialogue. Person. So we're meeting at 7 near the station, right? You didn't catch it fully. You say, sorry, just to make sure. 7 near the station? They say, yes, done, smooth, natural, no stress. Now, here's the most important part. You will forget these phrases. At first, that's normal. So don't try to memorize everything. Just choose 2 or 3, repeat them, use them, again and again, until they become automatic. Because in real conversations, you don't have time to think. You need reactions, not perfection. And once you have these reactions, something changes. You stop fearing conversations. Because now, even if you don't understand, you know what to do. Now, let's talk about something deeper. Because learning these phrases is helpful, but the real change is not in the words. It's in the way you react. Most learners believe, if I don't understand, I'm failing. So when that moment happens, they panic, they freeze, or they escape. But what if that moment is actually part of the process? Think about it. Every time you don't catch something, your brain is being trained. Not perfectly, not comfortably, but realistically. Because real conversations are not slow. They are not clear. They are not designed for learners. And that's exactly why they help you grow. So instead of thinking, I missed it, I'm bad at English, try this. I missed it, good. Now I respond. That small shift changes your behavior. You stay in the conversation. You ask, you react, you continue. And that is fluency. Not knowing everything, but knowing how to move forward, even when things are not clear. Let me ask you something. How many times did you stay silent just because you didn't understand one sentence? How many conversations ended before they even started because you were afraid to say, sorry, can you repeat that? And the truth is, most people didn't even notice. They were ready to repeat. They were ready to explain. But you stopped yourself before they had the chance. And that's what keeps learners stuck. Not vocabulary, not grammar, silence. So from now on, I want you to try something simple. The next time you don't understand, don't escape, don't pretend, don't stay quiet. Just use one phrase, just one. I didn't catch that. That's enough. Because once you say it, something changes. The pressure drops. The conversation continues. And you realize something important. You don't need perfect English to have real conversations. You just need the courage to stay in them. Not because English becomes easy, but because you become more comfortable inside it. And that is what fluency really feels like. Not perfect, not fast, but natural. So next time, when English feels too fast, too confusing, too much, remember this. You don't need to understand everything. You just need to stay. And once you stay, everything starts to change. Now, let's go a bit deeper. Because real conversations are not always one sentence. Sometimes, people speak for 10 seconds, 15 seconds, even longer. And you don't lose everything. You lose part of it. Maybe the beginning, maybe one key word, maybe the ending. And that's where many learners panic again. Because they think, if I didn't understand everything, I understood nothing. But that's not true. So here's what you do instead. You focus on what you did understand, and you use it. Let me show you. Someone says, so basically I was thinking maybe we could meet earlier tomorrow because I have something later in the evening. You didn't catch everything, but maybe you heard, meet earlier tomorrow. That's enough. You can say, so earlier tomorrow? See what happened? You didn't ask them to repeat everything. You continued the conversation, naturally. This is called confirming, not restarting, because it makes you sound more fluent, even if you missed parts. Now another situation. Someone explains something long. You understand the idea, but not clearly. You can say, so you mean you're understanding. For example, so you mean we should finish it today? Now they will say, yes, or no, and suddenly you understand better without stopping the flow. Now another real moment. You didn't understand it all. Nothing. And yes, this happens, even at higher levels. In that case, be honest. Say, I'm sorry, I didn't get that at all. Simple, human, no stress. Because pretending only makes it worse later. And here's something important. The more you stay in the conversation, even with mistakes, the faster you improve. Not because you are perfect, but because you are active. And active learners always grow faster than silent ones. So remember this, you don't need 100% understanding. You need 60% and the courage to continue. So, before we finish, I want you to see this from a completely different angle. Not as a problem, not as a mistake, but as a skill. Because what we've been talking about in this video is not just about English. It's about how you handle uncertainty. And that changes everything. Most learners are not blocked by vocabulary, they are blocked by reaction. The moment something is unclear, they stop, they wait, they disconnect, and in that moment, they lose the conversation. Not because they didn't understand, but because they didn't respond. Now imagine this instead. You're in a conversation. Someone speaks fast. You catch maybe half. Your brain feels that pressure, that familiar moment where you want to freeze. But instead, you breathe, just slightly. You stay calm, and you choose one simple action. You say, sorry, I didn't catch that. Or, wait, can you say that again? Or even, so you mean, and suddenly, you're still there. Still part of the conversation. That is a completely different experience. Because now, you are not reacting with fear, you are responding with control. And that's what changes your confidence. Not perfect English, control. Now let's go deeper, because something interesting starts to happen when you practice this. At first, you will feel slow. You will think about the phrase. You will hesitate. You will not feel natural. That's normal, because your brain is still learning the pattern. But after a few conversations, something shifts. The phrases come faster. The reaction becomes easier. And then one day, without noticing, you use them automatically. Someone speaks, you don't understand, and before you even think, you say, sorry, can you repeat that? No panic, no stress, just reaction. That moment is a big step, because now you are not trying to speak English, you are using it. And there's a big difference between those two. Using is natural. Now, let me show you something most people never notice. When you stop fearing not understanding, you start listening differently. Before, you were listening with pressure, trying to catch every word, trying to be perfect. But now, you listen for meaning, for the idea, for the direction of the conversation, and this makes everything easier, because real communication is not about every word. It's about understanding enough to respond, and once you accept that, you relax. And when you relax, your brain works better. You hear more, you process faster, you react more naturally. So in a strange way, accepting that you don't understand everything actually improves your understanding. Now think about this. How many times did you stop yourself from speaking because you were afraid of this exact moment? Afraid that someone would say something and you wouldn't catch it? That fear is what keeps many learners silent for years. Not lack of knowledge, not lack of ability, fear of losing control. But the truth is, you are never supposed to control everything. Even native speakers don't. They ask, they clarify, they repeat, they misunderstand sometimes, and they continue. So why are you expecting yourself to be perfect? You don't need perfect understanding. You need flexible reactions. And that's what you're building now. Step by step, conversation by conversation. Now let's make this practical again. I want you to imagine your next real situation. Maybe someone talks to you at work. Maybe you travel. Maybe you join an online call and someone says something fast. Instead of thinking, I hope I understand, I want you to think, even if I don't, I know what to do. That one thought changes your energy completely, because now you're not entering the conversation with fear. You're entering it with a plan, and that plan is simple. Stay, react, continue. Now, here's something very important. Do not try to use all the phrases you learned today. That will only confuse you. Choose one. Just one. Maybe, I didn't catch that. Or, can you say that again? Use it. Repeat it. Practice it until it becomes natural. Then later, you add another one. This is how real fluency is built, not by learning everything at once, but by mastering small tools and using them consistently. And over time, these small tools become habits, and these habits become confidence, and that confidence becomes fluency. Not perfect fluency, real fluency, the kind where you can live inside the language, not just study it. Now, before we finish, I want you to remember one thing. The next time you don't understand something in English, that moment is not your enemy. It's your opportunity, an opportunity to react, to stay, to participate. Because every time you do, you are training your brain. You are building comfort. And most importantly, you are proving to yourself that you can handle it. So don't avoid that moment. Don't run from it. Step into it with one simple phrase and watch what happens. Because the moment you stop fearing confusion is the moment your English starts becoming real. And that is the moment everything changes.